In the heart of sunny California stands one of America's strangest and most haunted mansions. A sprawling labyrinth of over 160 rooms, staircases that lead to nowhere, and doors that open into walls. Was it the product of madness or messages from the dead? This is the story of the Winchester Mystery House and the woman who built it because the spirits told her to. Our story begins with Sarah married to William Wirt Winchester, a wealthy bachelor and heir to the fortune behind the Winchester rifle, the gun that won the West. But his bride was not for him. After the couple had been wed for only 6 months, they learned that Sarah was pregnant. And a year later, in 1862, their baby girl Annie was born. But joy soon turned to tragedy when the infant was stricken with the scarlet fever and died. Then less than a year later, in 1867, William fell ill himself, and Sarah nursed him back to health, but he suffered a relapse and died in her arms. Grief-stricken, Sarah was beside herself. She called upon a spiritual medium to communicate with her dead husband, and the seance went terribly wrong. The medium fell into a trance and screamed, "Don't you know that you are surrounded by the spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles? Your house is haunted. You are next." Sarah was horrified. She understood what the spirits meant. She needed to escape their wrath, but where could she go? The medium told her to follow the setting sun to a house by the sea. There she would be safe. And so Sarah booked passage aboard a stagecoach bound for San Jose, California. Upon arriving, she purchased an atrium farmhouse on the corner of 8th and 13th Streets and set about making it her own. But soon she hired an architect named Edward Folks to design an addition to the home, doubling its size. But then the architect's plans proved unsatisfactory and he was fired mid-project. Construction continued under the supervision of John Nettles, foreman for the Winchester Repeating Arms Company. But the work dragged on and Sarah grew restless. In 1876, she dismissed Mr. Nettles as well and took control of the construction project herself. At this point, the house had expanded to include 32 rooms, but Sarah wanted more. Every single day, she instructed her team of carpenters to build another room onto the house. And so they did, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For 38 long years, the workers toiled until their hands bled. They built around the clock without rest. If there was ever a mistake, a window placed askew, a door cut incorrectly, the offending piece of wood was ripped out and started again. And when mistakes couldn't be corrected, entire walls were torn down and rebuilt. As the house grew larger and larger, it became more and more bizarre. Rooms were added to rooms, each identical to the last. Windows were installed in the floors instead of the walls. Staircases led to nowhere. Hallways ran into dead ends. Ceilings descended into stairwells, and windows overlooked terrifying drops to the ground floor 30 feet below. Throughout the interior, doors opened to nothing but brick walls. And in the basement, rooms were windowless, pitch black, soundproofed and ventilated only by grates in the ceiling. All the rooms were connected by a series of narrow hallways, some barely wide enough for a person to pass through. The house resembled a twisting, turning maze with no center, no purpose, no end. But why? According to those who worked on the house, Sarah explained that she was directed by voices whispering in her ear, guiding her hand as she sketched new additions onto the blueprints. She claimed that these voices belonged to the ghosts of everyone who died from a Winchester rifle, a victim of murder, suicide, war, hunting accidents. She sought to escape their wrath, but they pursued her into her dreams, their presence driving her to build, to hide, to confuse them. And so she created a physical manifestation of her own unraveling mind. But Sarah was not the only person to experience strange activity at the house. Visitors reported seeing shadowy figures darting through doorways. And in the parlor, guests often heard the whisper of approaching footsteps, even though no one was there. Later, one of Sarah's cousins visited the house, only to be scratched across the neck by an unseen hand. He looked around frantically, but saw no one. Then the scratching happened again. He whirled around, grabbed the assailant by the shoulder and screamed, "Who are you?" The spirit vanished, leaving his handprint burned into the air like ice on hot metal. There were other disturbances, too. Workers spoke of seeing the ghost of a little girl wandering the upper floors, looking for her mother. Sometimes the ghost of a man in a top hat could be seen striding purposefully through the halls. On occasion, workers felt cold spots, sudden drops in temperature, like walking into an ice-cold room, even though every window was locked and bolted shut. Once a security guard investigated a cold spot on the third floor and saw the shadow of a woman standing in front of him. He radioed for backup, but when his colleagues arrived, they saw nothing. Yet despite all these encounters, most of the workers continued to arrive at the house every morning and build as if their lives depended upon it, which in some cases they did. Rumor held that if anyone quit working on the house, they would die within a year. Several workers tested their luck and soon met their end. One man simply walked away from the house, only to be struck and killed by lightning the following spring. Another was found drowned in a nearby lake. Still, others died in freak accidents, falling off ladders, electrocuted by faulty wiring, crushed beneath collapsing scaffolding. No one knew what lurked within the walls of the house, but it seemed determined to claim those who crossed it. And Sarah Winchester was plagued by the supernatural as well. Throughout her life, she experienced unsettling premonitions. She dreamed of people dying and always awoke to news that someone had met their demise in a manner she had foreseen. When she saw a woman fall in a dream, she awoke to find a local milliner had been crushed by a horse. While visiting New York, she dreamed of a young man scaling the flagpole at Madison Square Garden. The following day, newspapers told the tale of a boy electrocuted while attempting the same feat. These prescient dreams intensified once she moved into the house. Unable to sleep, she spent her nights wandering the endless halls, listening to the whispers of the dead. In the daylight, she continued to sketch additions onto the blueprints, driving the construction crew to build tirelessly and hopelessly. But why? What drove this wealthy widow to take such extreme measures to escape the spirits? Some say guilt drove her mad. After all, her late husband profited from the deaths of countless people. His repeating rifles had sent thousands of men to their graves. Could she really escape the karma of that blood money? Others believe that Sarah Winchester channeled something beyond our understanding, that she tapped into a psychic power that she could not control. Regardless, the house reflects her torment, endlessly under construction, never finished, trapped in a liminal space between sanity and madness, between life and death. In the end, the house's construction ceased abruptly in 1922 when Sarah died of a stroke at the age of 86. The estate passed to her niece, who sold the house to investors. Over the next several years, much of the house was demolished, but not before investigators and journalists combed through the rooms, searching for clues as to how such an unusual structure could have been created. Paranormal investigators documented magnetic anomalies throughout the property, and employees reported seeing apparitions, feeling ghostly touches, and hearing disembodied voices. Some even witnessed objects move on their own accord and strange symbols scrawled across the walls. In 1935, Mae West hosted a seance in the mansion and invited reporters from the San Francisco Chronicle to document the event. During the ceremony, West conversed with spirits using a Ouija board, and they relayed a message for Sarah Winchester. According to the newspaper's account, West asked, "Mrs. Winchester, is your house a trap for us?" The spirits replied, "Yes," but the most shocking message came when West asked, "Are you happy?" And the spirits answered, "No." Following Mae West's investigation, the house was open to the public as a tourist attraction and has remained so to this day. Over the years, its new owners have staged mock seances for thrill-seeking guests and employed actors to portray the ghost of Sarah Winchester wandering the halls. Each Halloween, the grounds become a haunted house attraction for costumed children, and every summer, tourists and locals alike flock to the mansion for its annual ghost tour. Today, the Winchester Mystery House remains one of California's most popular destinations, attracting hundreds of thousands of visitors each year. It's been featured in countless documentaries, television shows, and films, including The $6 Million Man, Here Come the Brides, The Love Boat, Murder, She Wrote, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and American Horror Story. But what really happened here? Was Sarah Winchester mentally unstable or spiritually connected? Was she haunted by the dead or merely trying to outrun her guilt? You decide. This is America Haunted, and the spirits are just getting started. Thanks for watching. Do you believe that Sarah Winchester was haunted by the ghosts of those killed by Winchester rifles? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more tales of the terrifying and the unexplained.